Hello, and welcome to another edition of Academic Matters. I'm Joe Marbach, the Provost at LaSalle University. In this first segment, I'm joined by Dr. Luis Gomez, who's the chair of the Foreign Languages Department here at LaSalle. Luis, welcome to the program.
Thank you, thank you.
Luis, if you don't mind, for folks at home who may not be familiar with you, could you give us a little bit of your background and how you ended up here at LaSalle?
Yeah, I spent most of my adult life working in business, mostly international business, although I also had a great deal of domestic experience. And it was always my objective to come back to an academic setting. So when I was about 50, I retired because I did very well. So it was time to come back to what I really loved once the everyday stuff of making a living was pretty much finished. There was a professor at LaSalle by the name of Nick Angerosa who passed away, and him and I were very good friends from our days during graduate studies, and Nick informed me that there was an opening, and I applied, and I was hired.
Oh, okay. For folks at home that might not be familiar again with our programs, how many languages do we offer in foreign languages?
We offer, we usually distinguish between majors and minors. In the majors area, we offer Spanish, French, German, Italian, and Russian. In the minors area, we offer a minor in Japanese, and we also offer a minor in the classics, Latin and Greek, and then an assorted number of courses in Chinese, although it's not a minor.
Okay, so more of just if students
For
are
those
interested.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of student demand are you finding, and is it growing with movement towards international business and some other majors that we've developed?
Yeah. As you know, languages are not a requirement, so, or theoretically all of our students are there because they want to be there. Mm-hmm. Without question, the demand in Spanish, for obvious reasons, is by far the largest. On a typical semester, we field something in the order of 22, 23 courses in Spanish, ranging from introductory through upper division courses. The German, French, and Italian are similar, although Italian has become, without question, our second highest demand language. In a given semester, we have somewhere in the order of 600 students taking one language or another. In addition to that, as you know, we also have the Hispanic Institute, mm-hmm. which is a graduate program offering both master's degrees, 3 of them, and certificates on specific skills. The master's in translation and interpretation is a very popular one, and so is the master's in TESOL, teaching English to speakers of other languages. And of course, our initial program, which is now 20-some years old, is a master's in bilingual bicultural studies. Now, as far as interface with other disciplines within the university, the languages have had a great deal of it, from teaching on-demand courses on, say, German business, to something that is in the hopper right now between the speech pathology department and the foreign language department, to offer a dual major in speech pathology and Spanish. For obvious reasons, again, the demographics mm-hmm. Drive you into that decision. And frankly, to the best of my knowledge, there is no other university that has currently a program for speech pathologists and therapists that specializes also in the language in which the therapy is applied.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up on that too, because I know there's a lot of attention now being paid to speech-language pathology. It's a booming major in terms of our one graduate program.
Oh yeah.
It's probably one of the most selective that we have. But again, that's for English speakers. And the demographics are just indicating that increasingly number of Americans are speaking Spanish. So this really seems to be a cutting edge kind of program in response to demographic changing.
I think it is. I think it is, and I think it gives us essentially competitive advantages that even enhance what is already a very good program. In addition to that, as you know, we are in the midst of an expansion for a very specific program. We call it the Busca program, which is also designed for Hispanics. It's a 2-year associate degree, and it has been in operation at La Salle here for over 30 years. The Busca program basically is equivalent to the core at the 4-year level. So students come to the program and are able to transition directly into La Salle's 4-year program, or if they desire, they can go elsewhere and take, for the most part, all of the credits they accrued here during that 2 years and 1 semester that the program lasts. What's exciting is not only that, but also the fact that we are in the midst of taking the Busca program both regionally and nationally to a new level. So we're exploring locations in the West Coast, and we are exploring locations within, I would call it the greater Delaware Valley, places where the Hispanic population, if it doesn't dominate, has a very high representation, particularly in the school systems. Allentown, Reading, York, Lancaster, Harrisburg are typical targets for something like that.
Yeah. Now, Luis, Busca is a very different kind of program because it addresses the challenges of the Hispanic population and culture, and we're really dealing with first-generation college students, and you have to deal with preconceptions and family attitudes. So it's more than just offering courses, right? This involves counseling.
Yes. The structure of the program, quite frankly, is a design that is meant to be successful. Take it under consideration, everything you said, the cultural issues, the first generation attendance to college and all of that. So students are able to use the services that we provide in academic matters, in motivational matters, in financial matters, and therefore they don't have to navigate the system on their own. They have, in essence, guides that are very helpful in ultimately having success. The Busca program has, as a graduation rate, twice the rate that you find in the rest of the United States for Hispanics, twice.
Yeah, so it's extremely successful. It's one of the reasons that we really, as a service to the community, to really seek to expand it, and in response also to the demographics, the demand that's out there.
Yes.
To what extent are cultural variations within the Hispanic community reflected in that program? But I know they're also reflected in the other programs that you offer, and we'll often speak of the Hispanic community, but it's really multiple subsets of populations from different nations of origin.
Yeah, Hispanics are far from monolithic. However, there are common points that can be found across cultural divides. And we concentrate on those common points. The issue of family is very much ingrained. So the effect of family on the individual is very large. The duties of the individual to the family are also equally important. So most of our students really are expected to contribute to the income of the family.
Yeah. And so we structure the program to allow them to do that, and courses are offered in the evenings.
Exactly. So the entire program is run after working hours, if you like. It's difficult. It's 12 credits per semester, 4 nights a week. So you can imagine that it takes a great deal of desire to be able to do that semester after semester after semester. It's inevitable that we're going to have some students drop. They can't deal with it. But even in that area, we've been tremendously successful. Our drop rates are insignificant.
how many of those students, once they go through the program, continue on at LaSalle?
Uh, Total continuation, and all colleges included, is around 60%.
Okay.
60% of all students that earn the associate degree continue, and 40% continue with LaSalle, and 20% go elsewhere.
Okay. So it's been a great program in terms of just that completion rate and then moving on for higher education.
Yeah, because really an associate degree should only be an interim objective. The great economic differentiation comes at a bachelor's level. So if you want these individuals to become pillars of the society, to in fact be in a position to lend a helping hand to others in the community, you have to push him to be the most they can be. And that's what BUSCA does through academic advising and counseling at every level, motivational or otherwise.
And if you take it to the next level, or even past that, to the graduate level, the Master's in Interpretation is also a program where we're seeing increasing demand, and that has some specific focuses as well.
Yes, the Master's in Translation and Interpretation focuses in what we call 3 distinct linguistic universes. That is the linguistic universe that deals with healthcare, the linguistic universe that deals with legal matters, and the one that deals with business. They all have their own language. So in ordinary conversation, you would rarely address those linguistic universes. Now, the people that come to our Masters in Translation and Interpretation program are already thoroughly bilingual. So the program really teaches first a technique that they may not be aware of, in techniques, I should say, in translation and interpretation. It teaches the memorization tricks that are needed for interpretation, whether it's consecutive or simultaneous. It teaches concentration methodology that you need to do that. It teaches sources you can use as a translator, et cetera, et cetera. The program it doesn't ignore theory by any means, but truly is one that is guided to the practice of those 2 skills.
Yes, it's very LaSallian in that sense. Luis, we're just about out of time. If people wanted some more information about BUSCA or the languages or the master's programs at the Hispanic Institute, how do they best contact you?
Well, you can contact me via email at Gomez, Gomez, at lasalle.edu, or you can contact me by phone at 215-951-1201, or you can write to me at LaSalle University, send a smoke signal, whatever you like.
You'll get in touch with them. Okay, thank you. My guest has been Dr. Luis Gomez. He is the chair of the Foreign Languages Department here at LaSalle University. He was former director of the Hispanic Institute and has moved up the food chain here at LaSalle. Luis, thank you for being on the program.
You're welcome.
I didn't think this could happen to me.
I just wanted to feel pretty.
I just put my drink down for a second.
I didn't want to hurt her. I didn't want to fight back.
Hungry for LaSalle TV? Check us out on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Check out our Twitter. And continue watching LaSalle TV.
Cyberbullying comes in many forms and can happen 24/7. If you or someone you know is a victim of cyberbullying, take preventative and assertive action. Keep evidence and document all instances. Remember to record dates, times, descriptions, and also save and print screenshots. Block your cyberbully and present your evidence to school officials or law enforcement. No one deserves to be a victim of cyberbullying, and together we can end it. For more information, visit stopbullying.com.
Welcome back to Academic Matters. I'm Joe Marbach, the Provost at LaSalle University. In this segment, I'm joined by Dr. David Robson, who is the chair of the economics department here at LaSalle. Dave, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Joe.
Dave, you've been here for a long time, but tell me a little bit about how you ended up at LaSalle, what attracted you, and what keeps you coming back day after day.
Okay. When I finished my undergraduate degree at Juniata College, I headed straight to PhD, thinking I wanted to go into industry and do economic forecasting. And so while I was working on the PhD, I was doing economic forecasting and very happy with that. And somewhere along the line, the teaching bug bit me. And so when I finished my PhD at Maryland, I stayed for a year teaching there, and then I went to Louisiana Tech University for 4 years. And after 4 years there, I was ready to leave Louisiana. My wife and I had had a son, and we were ready to not send him to Louisiana schools, and so LaSalle offered me a chance to leave Louisiana and move home in some sense, since I grew up in Pennsylvania, and so did my wife.
Oh, okay. So you were immediately in the Department of Economics?
Yes.
The full-time. Now, economics deals primarily with an undergraduate degree, and we'll talk a little bit about that, but it also supports our MBA program?
That's correct. And actually, we have 2 undergraduate degrees. We have a straight economics degree, and we have an economics and international studies degree.
And added to a third, right? Policy philosophy in economics, which was recently approved.
Right, it's political science philosophy in economics,
Political
which
science,
was recently approved. So yes, now we technically are part of a third. So we have 2, plus we are part of a third. And we also teach in the MBA program.
Okay. Of the 3, which is the most popular for the students?
So far, right now, it's the straight economics degree is the most popular. The PPE program is too new to have a lot of students in it. And the economics and international studies is more a specialty program in a sense. It's for students who are interested in issues like maybe working, say, for the IMF or World Bank or some international organization.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about the curriculum in our economics program. What do students have to take? What would you identify as the real strengths of the program? Because it has high quality students, among some of the best that we graduate here at LaSalle.
I'm close, and I agree. About half of our economics majors are honors students, and so we are getting a lot of the very good students. And I think they're drawn to the challenge and the analytical content in the economics degree. We're known as one of the tougher departments in the university, and it's the analytical content plus a little bit of math that tends to say to some students, this is not where you belong, and to other students, boy, do I ever want to go and do that. And so the heart of the program, to a large extent, is intermediate micro, intermediate macro, statistics, and econometrics. Those are all required courses for the economics majors, and they prepare students in interesting ways to be able to do a variety of things. And that's one of the things I like about economics major. As I was an undergrad, thought of myself as an economics major, was what can you do with the degree? And the answer is many, many things.
And our degree in particular has a significant emphasis on writing
Yes.
in the program, right? So I think folks at home would think about economics, oh, it's math, these guys are just crunching numbers.
No.
But that's really not a description of our program.
No, not at all. We do put a heavy emphasis on writing, analytical skills, and policy. We very much engage the students in policy discussions at all levels, even in the principles, the introductory levels. We want them to understand that economics has real consequences in the world. And so if we're talking about tax cuts and how that will affect the economy, or we're talking about raising the minimum wage and how that will affect people's welfare, we're always bringing the policy debates into the program. And this comes back to sort of a long LaSallian legacy in the department. Joseph Flubacher was sort of the founder of our department, was big on combining the LaSallian ideal of social justice with economics. And so the department has long followed that tradition established by Joe Flubacher, and we continue to believe that economics has real consequences in the world, and we want students to engage in the policy debates about those consequences.
I know that that's a subject that comes up often. We have the Flubacher dinner that provides students with a significant award because they're the best student. And I enjoy talking with many of the students because of that emphasis on policy. As a political scientist, I know that you share majors, or many of your majors are political science minors because of that emphasis.
Yes.
So it's always interesting to me, and I know that it used to be part of the political science curriculum that took micro and macro to get an understanding of how the economic factors influence government. I don't think it's part of political science anymore.
Not formally, but a lot of political science majors will come down and take at least a couple courses, and a fair number will do the double major. Out of the current senior class, just to identify it, we have 2 double majors with economics and political science. So they are really combining the two to focus on the policy questions.
Yeah, and I know that we talked about some of the student accomplishments. You've had a couple of Fulbright scholars
Yes,
out
we've
of the
had
program.
several Fulbright scholars. We've had a couple students. One of the Fulbrights then went on to Harvard University, and we've had several students go on to Harvard and other very good schools. We've put a lot into PhD economics programs all around the country. University of Virginia, which is a very good program, Rutgers, and a variety of other schools, including Maryland, where I went, where I was very proud to send a couple of my alums off to Maryland, which is also one of my schools.
That's great. And they're doing this because they're prepared. We off camera, we were talking a little bit about the senior seminar and how rigorous it is and the writing that students are doing. What are some of the topics that they're covering? Because they're in the middle of it right now. You're probably going through draft after draft of student writing.
That's exactly where we are right now. And so, for example, we have one student who's looking at marriage, divorce, abortion, and fertility rates in Hungary. So she's doing a time series analysis of the Hungarian decisions around those issues. Particularly, and to me, one of the interesting things is she's connecting the pre-fall of the Berlin Wall all the way up to now, and looking to see whether there were changes made.
So some of it under a communist government and then a more democratic system.
And one might expect, for example, the abortion rate might go up under the more but it's actually going down. Fertility's dropping too, and so there are all kinds of interesting results that she's getting. We have students looking at a number of financial market issues, and what the other most common double major is economics and finance. So we have one student looking at the issue around if you're going to invest, do you want to put it in an actively managed mutual fund versus say an S&P 500 index fund? And so he's examining that kind of question. We have another student looking at the revisions to the unemployment data. And the work's been done around the federal level, and he's trying to do it at the state level to see whether the state level unemployment data is biased downward during growth periods and biased upward during recessions. And looks like that's going to be the result, but it's still a little preliminary.
Is he going to link that to the party in power? Is it
he's not going to go that far. He's still, at this point, trying to just literally measure, statistically measure the changes in the reported employment gains and unemployment rates to see, like when the U.S. went into the Great Recession, the unemployment numbers kept getting revised, saying there was more unemployment than previously thought. And when we're in growth periods, they're revised, and the revisions tend to be there are more jobs than we previously thought. And so he's now looking at whether that phenomenon exists at the state level instead of the national level.
All right. So where's he getting his data? Is it just it's coming from the federal government and the individual states?
Yes, and he currently is interning with the Federal Reserve. And so through the Federal Reserve, he has access to the data and some of the programs, because he's not using the traditional programs that we here at LaSalle are using.
Yeah. Dave, you mentioned the internship program. We didn't even touch on it because anything at LaSalle also has a practical side of it. Our students are doing some great internships besides the Federal Reserve. Tell us about a couple of those.
We've had students do all kinds of interesting things. And the range includes things like working for PIDC, Philadelphia Industrial Development Corporation. We've had people intern with the city government. We've had people intern with state government. We had one student intern with the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. And her work looked at the economic value of trails and parks. And some of her work is actually still up on the web because DCNR posted it to their website.
Wow, so some actual policy implications, just right with as the program would have predicted.
Exactly, and so it was and trying to measure the value of having the parks and the trails.
Okay, Dave, we're just about out of time. If folks at home are interested in the economics program, are you the best person to contact? And if so, how do they do that?
As the chair, I'd be the normal person to contact. They can reach me at Robison without the N in the middle, so it's not Robinson, robinson@lasalle.edu, or they can call me at 215-951-1184.
Okay, thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
My guest has been Dr. David Robson, close enough, chair of our Department of Economics here at LaSalle University. Once again, my name is Joe Marbach. I'm the provost at LaSalle. Thank you for watching.